A house torn apart, covered in animal waste and garbage. One emaciated dog on a filthy floor, another lying in what appears to be blood, and a third with multiple sores. A vet recommending dogs be put down to end their suffering. This was supposed to be their second chance at life.
There isn't any person in rescue that doesn't start with the best of intentions, you know what I mean?
Gia Fowler ran a Husky-focused rescue out of this house on South Valley View, an unofficial operation with no business or kennel license. She took in lots and lots of dogs, and she took in Erica Grayson last November.
I cleaned day and night. I took care of the animals.
In exchange, Erica lived at the Husky house rent-free.
Most, if not all, the dogs in her house were behavioral and medical dogs, which would have been euthanized probably upon intake into Animal Foundation.
But Gia's critics say her concept of rescue turned into a hoarding situation.
But it's a slippery slope. It's super easy to go downhill.
One dog she rescued, named Loki, was so aggressive that Gia kept him muzzled day and night for about 2 years. Leroy is one of the medical dogs she took in. In this video that's hard to watch, you can see him suffering a seizure. Leroy ultimately had to be euthanized.
So Leroy was 4.
Animal lovers held this vigil in June.
If he would have stayed with someone who cared for him, because clearly whoever was taking care of him and recently didn't. If they had any care for him at all and had any sympathy for him having the seizures, he would still be alive today.
There's a lot of finger pointing between Erica and Gia as to who's at fault. Erica says in the spring there were more than 40 dogs in the home. Gia says she'd left the home in February to care for her ailing mother, leaving Erica in charge of the dogs.
The animal control was already involved at that time. They were already making trips to the house. She had been ignoring them.
In April and May, animal control records show at least 3 dogs were examined by vets, appearing emaciated, with open wounds crawling with maggots and matted fur smelling like feces. Gia's history with animal control goes as far back as 2011. County records paint a troubling picture of hiding dogs to avoid authorities, evading questions and permitting requirements, and citations for too many dogs.
There was a couple times they came out and left a notice on the door saying that one of the neighbors had claimed that the dogs were abandoned. Literally, it was a phone call back to them saying, "My dogs aren't abandoned." And they said, okay.
Things were not okay. In 2016, Gia was living with her ailing mother in this home on Skyflower Court. Police were called in December over a possible domestic situation, and Metro called animal control after seeing more than 10 dogs. Officers described the home as covered in animal excrement and possibly unlivable. Gia was charged with misdemeanors for having too many dogs and unsanitary conditions. Those charges were dropped when she came into compliance.
You know, I've done my fair share. I've played my part. I have helped a lot of dogs move on to the next phases of their lives. I don't feel bad about that.
Erica and others in the rescue community got all the dogs out of the Valley View house to other rescues and foster homes, but the bigger picture problem persists.
Because if that animal gets lost and it's been adopted.
Karen Lane has advocated for animals in Las Vegas for more than 25 years. She's seen more than a few rescues gone wrong.
You know, I'm sure a lot of these groups don't want to talk about themselves as hoarders. But if you look at the definition of hoarders, one of the first levels of hoarding are rescue groups. I mean, it's just a really tragic scenario.
Lane says there are more than 80 self-titled rescue groups in Las Vegas, adding that social media could be making the process too easy.
Anyone can put their name out there and say, I rescued a dog. Look at this poor dog. Give us money to help this dog. And guess what? They're going to get money to help that dog.
She's worked for years trying to get rescues regulated and give animal control more authority.
This issue has been fought over in multiple legislative sessions that I can remember as long as I've been involved in this, and it's gotten nowhere.
People often ask, why doesn't animal control step in before conditions get as bad as what you saw in this story? Citing an open investigation, the county declined to talk with us on camera about this case, but said animal control can obtain an administrative search warrant from the court and impound animals if that's appropriate. Authorities are expected to make a decision this month if criminal charges will be filed over the Valley View Husky House. Darcy Spears, 13 Investigates.